we had reached our goals. We spent, 100-hour weeks. We didn't pay ourselves for the first 3 years. And 10 years into that company, we were doing very well. Customers were happy. We were outselling ourselves every year. It was fantastic. But I was coming to work every day feeling empty. I felt like I hit my goals. I didn't feel depressed. I just felt empty inside. And I started thinking, when did I not feel that way?
Hello, Liberty Spenders. Today on the podcast, we're thrilled to welcome Matt Potter. He's the visionary founder behind Pray.com, the world's leading app for daily prayer and faith-based audio content. Matt has an incredible background in tech, having developed more than 6,000 apps. We're going to at least talk about 6,000.
I mean, that's lowball. I've done at least double that. I'm vibe coding. I mean, you got nothing on me, Matt. Nothing.
Yeah, 6,000 apps. And led a company like Homestack, which is a real estate app you launched while still a student at Boise State University. So definitely not someone who's waiting around for his time. Your journey, though, took a meaningful turn after a chance encounter with your friend Steve Gattina, inspiring him to use his expertise for a greater purpose, helping people grow in faith and to build community through innovative technology. So we're going to be diving into that story and what drives his mission. Matt, pumped to have you on the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Honored and blessed to be here. Very excited and great to meet you guys.
Well, We are too, because we have been following, well, of course, interacting, but also following on the outside, the journey of Pray.com. And it's a great thing to see. And we're just excited to bring our listeners more about your story.
Yeah, absolutely pumped. So for people who might not be super familiar, give us the Cliff Notes. What is Pray.com? What impact are you having with it right now?
Yeah, Pray.com is the #1 app for daily prayer and faith-based content. And we're driven on a mission to grow faith and cultivate community. The app is a content-heavy app on prayers, of course, Bible meditations. We've done 3 different cinematic audio series, bringing all your favorite Bible stories to life in cinematic audio with former Disney voice actors and actresses, a 61-piece orchestra, and some incredible sound effects. We've also built, community prayer walls where people can post prayers and prayer requests. You have the entire Bible in the app that you can read, as well as some of the top 100 ministries and churches in the United States providing content to the platform. So if you want to hear about what Jack Graham or Tony Evans or Ed Young or some of these other pastors in America have to say about finances, marriage, relationships, raising children in a Christian worldview, you can go through the app and find different content for you. And then we just launched actually recently our Pray Science division of the company, which we can get into more, but who thought that you would connect prayer and science? But we can dive into that more. Sounds very taboo, right? So something exciting that we're working on at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you're starting to list this thing, and I thought, what isn't now with Pray.com in the app? Because again, seeing the exposure and the trajectory and, the exhibits and how you guys have this immersive booth at National Religious Broadcasters Convention. And I just know that it's growing and growing, right? And the content that it's being housed there is really, really remarkable. So again, it's gone well beyond the prayers and devotionals, right?
We never thought, we have, here's some fun stats. So the app has 25 million downloads. It's growing by 30,000 new downloads every single day. Our podcast just crossed 250 million downloads. We've had 168 million shares of the gospel and content outside the app. Someone texting it to a family member or friend. And then here's the mind-blowing one. I still can't wrap my brain around it, but we've had 1,700 years of content consumption in the app. So
that's a fun stat. Whoever put those together, that's a good one.
We've and here's the, People are starting to go back to church more, and Bible sales are at all-time highs right now, but people are still going once a month. And the average user of pray.com is consuming 8 hours of content, of Christian content a month. And the average churchgoer, the average church service, about an hour. So we are 8xing the amount of time that people are spending in their faith, and pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
As you should be.
It's a great impact that you're having. Is there something maybe, it's great to have cool numbers, but I'm sure after a few years of being around, there's maybe a story that's a favorite one, or a testimony that's a favorite one, somebody whose life was impacted or was moved to take some action in their life because of pray.com. Is there one that comes to mind?
Yeah, there's 3 that are very near and dear to my heart. I'll talk about one, and if you want to dive into more, we can. There was a young man who was, driving on the freeway, got into a car accident and died. He was in the hospital, and the medical staff called his sister, and his sister came in. She's, in her mid-30s, and they gave her his belongings. And one of the belongings that they gave her was his phone. And the sister was distraught, and she was not a Christian. And her brother was not a Christian that she knew of. When she got his phone and plugged it in, there were push notifications from pray.com on his phone. And she began to look into the app, start using the app. She also found a journal from her brother and realized that he had become a Christian because of pray.com. And he started going to church and started using the app every single day. And so because of that, she downloaded the app, started using pray.com every day, and became a Christian. It changed her life. And she wrote us a letter, and it was just, heart-wrenching what she went through. But the Bible says that God will turn everything out for the good. And the fact that she found his phone and realized that he became a Christian, and she ended up starting to explore her faith and became a Christian, it was just one of those beautiful and heart-wrenching stories at the same time. So
Well, and how it's used. I bet you didn't have that on your list of, use cases of how are our users gonna, what's the impact? How are they gonna use this? That's not something that you would have predicted for sure.
Yeah, and another instance, when we built this streak feature where if you use the app every day and listen to the daily devotional, daily prayer, you get a streak. And people
Us competitive people, we like the streaks.
That's right. But there's also a cool functionality where you can share your streak, right? And I've had people who I've met in person, and they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, just started pray.com." And they pull out their phone and show me their 1,000-day streak. It's just wild. But the streak, you can share the streak with your family members and friends. Maybe it's bragging rights, but you share in the devotional as well, right? So we got an inbound email from a police officer in Ohio, and a friend of his shared him the pray.com app through this sharing functionality. And he wrote in an email that he had been planning to commit suicide for months. And he was planning to do it on a very specific day. And he got in his car, and he had his service pistol, and he went into his garage, and he was going to commit suicide. And on his phone in that moment, he got a message from a friend sharing the daily devotional with him. And he decided to choose life. And so when you were talking about features that you never thought users would use, I knew we would help people. I knew we would help people reconnect with their faith. I knew that, we would encourage people to listen to stories in the Bible. Never thought that a text message with the daily devotional would save somebody's life.
Yep.
And, it's not us. That's all God, right? God created that moment, that timing, encouraging that friend to send the message. But I never in a million years did I think we would hear that story. And that's just one. How many people has that happened to that we don't hear from? That's what I think about. Just when you look at the stats, the amount of people who are willing to reply or send a message or an email, it's pretty low. So it's just remarkable to see what God is doing.
Yeah. And I think, to your point, the sharing and my joke about the competitive streak, but I think what's really amazing is even people that you wouldn't expect. We all go through struggles. We all go through hard times, and even in my, own church life group, that I'm doing life with and doing Bible studies with. And, I know for me, I may not have been in that position, but just how, like you said, God can utilize the technology in our hand. And if we have an impulse, you know what, I'm going to send this out to somebody, right?
Yep.
And what an amazing thing also to be obedient to that, right? So that you actually do that. It's just I wanted to double down on that because it's also just a reminder for all of us listening, if you ever feel the urge, right, don't question it, take action. Right? Because you don't know what's on the other side. You quite literally could be saving someone's life.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you shared that. I know when I've gotten those, it's like, oh, I needed that. Thank you. Not exactly in that circumstance, but you just never know.
Yeah.
And the technology and the app makes that easier for us to do those things.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's just a vehicle.
Yes, and I am curious about the Pray Science division. I have a theory what that's all about, but I want you to tell about it, then we can jump into it a little more. Talk about the Pray Science division.
Yeah, so as a Christian, I believe God created the earth and everything in it. And I believe that God created our physical bodies, right? And so it would make sense to me that when you pray, it would improve and help your physical body because you're having that personal relationship with Jesus, right? And you're praying. But for a lot of people, that's kind of counterintuitive, I guess. And so we started doing clinical trials on prayer. Let's put prayer to the test, right? So we've had 3 different clinical trials that have been published in secular scientific journals on the efficacy of prayer on your mental health. And wouldn't you know, it really improves things. And it does so more than meditation. Not to say that meditation is wrong. Meditation is in the Bible. Christian meditation appears before any other meditation that you read out there from anywhere else. And really praying allows you to give your problems to God instead of meditating on problems that can create rumination. And rumination is negative, right? And so there's also other people that are doing clinical trials on prayer, like fMRI, when people are praying, accessing different parts of the brain, increasing gray matter density in the brain. But it's really cool to see the combination of science and prayer because when you think of science, you think of atheist or agnostic and not making the connection between the physical and the spiritual world. But when it comes to prayer, we can make that connection. And prayer does help people. It does have outsized outcomes on the reduction of mental health symptoms like anxiety or depression or hopelessness. And right now, we call it the hidden pandemic, right? We went through the pandemic. Now we have the hidden pandemic, which are the mental health issues. And we're seeing it in college age students and younger folks more than ever before. The counseling centers at most colleges, I just was at a university, their counseling center is backed up 6 months.
Wow.
You call and you say, I'm dealing with a mental health issue. They say, great, we'll book you 6 months from now. And it's not because the university isn't trying to help. There's just not enough people to help with the problem. You can't hire enough people to help with the problem right now on mental health. And so getting back to prayer and having something that reminds you to pray and having something that provides incredible biblical content is a great tool that's in between having to go to a counselor, coach, therapist, right? Not a replacement of, but maybe it's something that helps in between that or helps prevent that unless it continues to be a worse problem. So our Pray Science division is something we're very proud of, and we're excited to partner, and we're doing co-research with a lot of universities now on prayer and science. And so if you boil down a lot of the research, which to me, it goes way over my head when they start putting the math with the letters in it, right? But when you boil down some of the research that we've done, it's actually not about how long you pray. It's not about taking 2 hours to pray. It's about the frequency And so if you just spend a couple minutes a day connecting with your Savior in prayer, it has massive outsized outcomes in mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you, I'm not at all surprised, right?
No.
We have a God who created science, so it would make some
Yeah.
sense that
Did
there'd be
that line up with your
scientific.
theory? Did that
Yes,
line up with
I
your
mean,
theory?
prayer and science. It does sound counterintuitive to a certain person, right? Oh well, prayer and faith. That's the opposite of facts and science.
Yeah.
But it's not at all surprising to me. What is surprising, though, you're a guy who launched a real estate app while you were in college. You did 6,000 other apps. Now you're making Christian prayer content. What's that? What made you move from, okay, I'm doing a real estate app. Now I want to do pray.com. What was that moment of inspiration? If you're listening to this show, it's probably because you understand something most people don't. Marketing to Liberty spenders isn't just about ads or tactics, it's about trust. And in the real world, trust moves through relationships. And that's why private introductions and deal flow are such a core part of what we do.
So FastPass is a private introduction and deal flow network for Christian and conservative leaders who already have influence and want to scale fast. It's not open networking, it's intentional introductions between people who already share alignment. We've seen one client land a $25,000 opportunity from a single introduction. Another told us that FastPass has become his largest source of referrals, not because of volume, but because of fit. And yet another closed her equity round at a key moment just due to the right introduction.
When you book a one-to-one consult with us, we're not handing you a list or making big promises. Instead, we're having a real conversation about what you're building, who you want to meet, and whether FastPass makes sense for this season for you. So no pressure, no hustle, and no awkward pitch from us.
Yeah. If you're ready to grow through relationships instead of forcing everything on your own, head to libertyspenders.com/FastPass and book a one-to-one consult with us.
In worst case, you leave with clarity. Best case, the right introductions change the trajectory of what you're building.
Okay, back to the episode.
Yeah, great question. So just a quick update. It's over 10,000 apps now, but
Shoot, well, now
rounding
you've
error at
passed
this
me.
point.
Now you've passed me.
Yeah.
I can't vibe code that fast.
Yeah, this was before AI and vibe coding and
No, I know. I'm
where you
just
can
having
automate
fun.
it, right? I wish I wish it was around back then. It would have been easier. But my life has been, if I were to sum it up into a word, it would be providence. And I dropped out of college my senior year to start Homestack with my incredible co-founder, Will. And Will is my best friend. He's like a brother to me. And we did some great work helping people find their dream homes and helping build apps for Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's, Keller Williams, many, many more. And it was Pinnacle State Properties. Like, it was super fun. It was great. But we had reached our goals. We spent 100-hour weeks. We didn't pay ourselves for the first 3 years. And 10 years into that company, we were doing very well. Customers were happy. We were outselling ourselves every year. It was fantastic. But I was coming to work every day feeling empty. I felt like I hit my goals. I didn't feel depressed. I just felt empty inside. And I started thinking, when did I not feel that way? And it was when I was on a missions trip with my church. And I'd gone down to another country and we were building houses for people who had nothing, who were living on the streets in the dirt. And helping people became, my mantra. Like, how can I help more people? And I just felt God calling me to do something. So I called my pastor and his daughter. She's one of my best friends as well. And I just said, hey, what should I do? How can I help? How can I give back? What does the church need? And they said, hey, why don't you be a campus pastor? And I said, that sounds terrible and terrifying. I was like, I'm an introverted tech entrepreneur who didn't go to seminary. That's scary. And they said, pray about it. So I did. And I was praying about it that night and the next day. And the next day, I was at a coffee shop in my hometown, and my good buddy walked through the door, and he just looked like he was having a tough day. It was a chance or providential run in, depending on what you believe. And he was having a tough day, and I just said, Steve, sit down. What's going on? And he told me that he just lost his business partner in a plane crash in Colombia. They were filming a movie called American Made with Tom Cruise. And in the filming of the movie, his business partner died, and Steve wasn't a Christian. And a former Navy SEAL that worked at the company gave him an audio sermon from a pastor, and it changed his life. And he had become a Christian. And I said, Steve, that's remarkable. I'm so happy, for you. And he said, Matt, in that journey, I realized there is no digital destination for Christians online. There's no incredible like millennial brand that people would want to go and explore their faith and learn more. They have to go to like mychurch.org/sermons or something like that. They're not going to find all of this incredible content in one place. We need to build the ESPN for Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? You're right. And I just talked to my pastor last night on how I could help and give back. And I said, Steve, you don't know what providence means yet, but this is providence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll help you. I'll do it for free. And he said, good, because I just met at the coffee shop with this engineer I flew out who said he could only build e-commerce websites and I need help. And I said, great,
Yeah.
let's do it. So that was
Wow.
that was July 9th, 2016. And we've got two other incredible co-founders of Pray.com, Mike Lynn and Ryan Beck. And that's when we kicked off Pray.com, July 9th, 2016, coffee shop. So
Yeah.
Well,
Kristen had made a joke as somebody in digital marketing. We figured that vanity URL pray.com, was that your first gut? And it had to have been an expensive domain to own.
Yeah, it was taken. It wasn't on GoDaddy.
Yes.
I bet you had to do some private auction, private sale there.
Yep, it was. It wasn't the first domain we had, but it was what we were going after when we started. And there was a gentleman that owned it, and he wanted to give it to the Catholic Church to get an audience with the Pope. And the Catholic Church declined. And so we struck up a fair deal with him, and we purchased the domain 2 years later, and it was very expensive. It was millions of dollars, but we knew that that's what we wanted to do, and we were being called to do is have that domain pray.com. So it was great.
Well,
so you worked up to it, but yes, I've wondered that for some time.
even the Pope had a role in pray.com.
Right,
that's the lesson I learned there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been awesome to hear your story, and I wanted to just end with maybe talking about what you think is next in pray.com land. What are you building for the future? This is a great podcast to make national news. What's the next iteration?
Here we go. So, everybody's talking about AI, right?
Yes.
I think, I don't know anybody that's not talking about it right now. So, we're very excited to launch our AI chats where you can chat with different pastors' content and find out, what they would say in different situations in life that you have. Also, we're really excited to roll out the app into multilingual. And so we have, I think 90 to 95% of all spoken languages we have content for inside of pray.com, which we're excited about.
It's amazing.
So we're going international, and then we're also helping with that with churches and ministries and just regular people, discipleship at scale. So if people want to learn more about the Bible or get advice about different situations, we have multiple different AI agents inside the app that you can talk to find out, what would Tony Evans or what would Jack Graham or what does the Bible say about this? And you can talk to the chatbot and get that, real-time response. And so we're really excited. We've launched that feature already, and we're doing a lot of illustrative content. So animated video type content inside of pray.com that helps, bring those stories to life, those incredible biblical stories, as well as sermon illustrations. to life. And so those are some of the things we're really excited about that are next, that you're going to see updates on in the next few months.
That's great, and I'm really excited to see some of those things as parents now. We've been married 22 years this year, but we started our family kind of late. So we have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, and all of a sudden we're super.
Speaking of prayer, pray for us, people.
Yes, yeah, we're super attuned to Bible content. Where can we go to get really interesting stuff for the kids that they can interact with, and so animations, other things are good.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that chat feature, I think, is. Oh yes. Oh, go.
We're launching a kids standalone kids app soon, so we'll have to include you in the beta list email and get that out to you. Okay.
Oh, mark me down. Mark me down.
You got it.
Yes.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited about what you're sharing, the chat feature too, because I know Kurt has been, speaking of AI and trying to use Chat GPT for good, giving it very strong parameters of different theologians or pastors that he likes when he's doing devotions or wanting to get feedback. And that's been amazing. And now, that'll become even easier within your tool.
Yeah. And more trustworthy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which Chat GPT, I just have to sort of be very specific. I don't want any synthesis here. I don't want your opinion. I want Tim Keller's opinion, or I want R.C. Sproul's opinion.
Quotes only.
Charles Wesley, John Wesley.
That's what you'll get. I mean, we
no
hear
hallucination.
That same thing from people all the time. So you'll get direct quotes, the exact content, what they said, all through the AI agents inside of pray.com. So
yeah. Well, as we end, I think a good way to end would be to pretend like people haven't listened to the last 25 minutes or so, and just say, okay, here's what pray.com is. This is the impact we're having. This is who ought to find us, and where do you find us? Although it seems pretty obvious, pray.com. but let's end with that today.
So pray.com is the #1 app for daily prayer and faith-based content. The impact we're having is all the people we're helping, and there's 25 million downloads of the app, 250 million downloads of our podcasts. You can find us at pray.com or an app store near you. Any app store you have, we're there. So if you go to the app store, type in pray.com. But just for listening today, if you want to try out the entire app for free for a year, go to pray.com/Matt, M-A-T-T. That's my gift to you just for listening to the episode. It's normally, I think $99 for a yearly plan. So you get to do that for free for a year. Again, pray.com/Matt. That's just a gift for listening all the way to the end.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. And for our listeners, he was very gracious to give us this time, and he's ready to hop on a flight. So we thank you so much for giving us this time. And for you listeners, we appreciate your time too. We know you've got a lot of choices, and so we thank you for spending some time with us. Check out that link, and until next time, guys.